On this tower he controls all the shipping within the port of Portsmouth, the aids of VHF radio, radar and closed-circuit television. As a passenger boat, we have to report into this tower when we leave our berths at Gun Wharf and the historic docks. Tell him what we're up to. He will be keeping a close eye on us, make sure we adhere to all the rules and regulations. Main one, we have to remain 50 metres from any quay wall, any of the ships moored in the harbour today. Looking across the tops of the buildings, over on your right, you'll just see two of the normal three masts of HMS Victory. Normally a lot taller than that, but she's undergoing a major refit. In the early part of the 20th century, Victory was actually moored in the harbour. There was feared she might sink at her mooring, so they moved her into number 2 dry dock, where you see her there today, and she was eventually opened up to the public for the very first time in 1928. 1956.
Tässä me taidettiin olla Pohjanmaan kanssa kiinni.
We now know he's working for MI6, spying on a Soviet cruiser moored in the port of Portsmouth. Mystery still surrounds his disappearance to this very day. So we have both aircraft carriers in port today. The first one is the Prince of Wales. Ahead of her is the Queen Elisabeth, built at a cost of £3.1 billion each. They're 70,000 tonnes, 280 metres in length, 39 metres across. There's 11 metres of water from the flying deck down. They've actually got one deck. Now, what is the engine, 30 turbines, 58,000 horsepower. 26 knots with a range of 10,000 nautical miles. Now they're carrying the new F-35 light multi-role fighter boat. In America, and often they're carrying traditional passenger wildcats. Now it depends on what they're sent out to sea to do.
Täydennysluukut. Sieltä saa tankattua polttoainetta merellä. Miksei vaikka jotain tavaraa. Seaweeds. Oma suojavehjä.
You've had to slow down a little bit because on the stern of the Queen Elizabeth, the little blue barge there, you've actually got divers working on the Queen Elizabeth as we speak, so that's why we've slowed down a little. 1982, brought back to Portsmouth, where she's now on permanent display.
Queen Elisabeth.
Again to the right of the Mary Rose Museum, just about to come into view there, the stern of HMS Victory. As she does so, you'll notice on the back of Victory, she's still flying the white ensign, but she's still a commissioned warship. She's still part of our Royal Naval Fleet. In fact, the oldest warship in the world today. Also on the back of Victory, you'll see 3 sets of windows. The middle windows, they're to be Nelson's cabins at the Battle of Trafalgar. Richard the Lionheart landed at Portsmouth as King of England in the year 1194. He ordered the building of the first ever dock on the site which is now Gun Wharf Quays, with storms. The original docks on your right, the plans were laid down in the reign of King Henry V, but it was never ever built in his lifetime. He ran out of money. He had to sell off most of his ships anyhow. It was Henry VIII that actually established the first permanent naval dockyard here in Portsmouth. The first ever dry dock in the year 1498. Now he is often seen as the founder of the Royal Navy, as he commissioned the first ever ships which had an offensive role rather than just transport for the army in those days. Mary Rose can be considered as England's first ever warship. She was actually built here in Portsmouth in the year 1510, named after Henry's favourite sister and the family emblem, the Tudor Rose. The corner of the quay on your right, this is known as the North Corner. This is as far as Portsmouth Naval Dockyard used to go. As we round this corner, all the quays coming up on your right were all extended during Victorian times.
Ja siis tyypin 42 ilmatorjunta hävittäjiä. Nyt näkyy Dragonin toi keula oikein nätisti, molemmat lohikäärmet. Tämä on mielenkiintoinen laivanrakennusprojekti. Näitä samantyyppisiä, samankaltaisia laivoja löytyy Saksasta, Italiasta, Espanjasta, muistaakseni Portugalista, Ranskasta. Ja ne osa on aloittanut saman projektin, eli on niinku rakentanut sama firma ja samat konfiguraatiot, mutta sitten osa ei. Mutta jostain syystä ne niinku perusratkaisut niissä kaikissa on niinku melko samat. Se on ollut mielenkiintoista. Mä en tiedä syvällisesti, miten se on mennyt, mutta ne muodostaa Euroopan alueen alueelle valtavan ison puolustusvoiman erinäköisiä ilma- ja merellisiä uhkia vastaan. Sama tutka löytyy myös Queen Elisabethilta ja Prince of Walesilta. Jos olet koskaan ihmetellyt, että mitä kaikkea näissä on ja onko se salaista, mitä näissä on, niin ei ole salaista. Ne löytyy semmosesta brittiläisestä dokumenttisarjasta kuin Janes. Se on siis kirja, jossa kaikki nämä tutkat ja härpäkkeet on osoitettu, että mikä mikäkin on. Ja se on osa niin kuin puolustuskyvyn osoittamista, että ei osteta vaan laivoja, jossa on vaan jotain härväleitä, vaan sanotaan, että mihin se pystyy ja kykenee, jolla kerrotaan sitten siitä todellisesta kyvystä. Että sitten ei tarvitse enää miettiä, että mihin ne haluaa sitä käyttää ja haluuko käyttää. Tuolla on partiolaiva, näkyy yhdellä videolla tai tuon luokan alus. Ja siellä näkyy sen sisko. Look right up on the bow, you will see the 114mm Mark 9 Vickers gun, the big grey gun that fires some 25 rounds a minute over a range of 22,000 metres, near on 12 miles. Directly behind that, the big grey box is the launching stations for the brand new Sea Viper missile system, combination of Aster 15 and 30 missiles. Looking on the forward marsh, you'll see the grey board, the spikes. That is the Samson radar, the latest in radar technology. Can actually detect and track some 2,000 flying objects at any one time. On the back deck, the either carry a Merlin or Wildcat helicopter. They have a crew of 190 on board. Looking in the middle of Diamond, you'll see the Phalanx with the white dome on it. They've got one either side. The Phalanx fires 3,500 rounds a minute over a range of 1,500 metres. Any incoming targets such as missiles or planes, it will automatically lock onto the closest. It will fire, continue firing to that. Me puhutaan omasuoja-järjestelmästä. Ja tuolla on Sea Viper ohjusten laukaisualusta ja tuossa on se päätykki. Ja nykypäivällä toi tykki on niinku, se pitää olla, mutta ei sillä ole mitään merkitystä laivan suorituskyvyllä, vaan tolla on. Ja sitten täällä on välissä jossain jo ohjusjärjestelmä, niin sillä on merkitystä. Se on itse asiassa tossa näyttää olevan tyhjät harppuunaräkit. Joka on siis merimaaliohjus. Täällä on vähän vanhempaa hävittäjää, Type 23. Oli uutisissa hetken aikaa sitten, että tämän tyypin laiva, niin tuo vekotin olisi osunut venäläiseen sukellusveneeseen. Toi on siis semmoinen, mikä upotetaan veteen ja sille etsitään sukellusveneitä. Löytyy, jos uutisia on uskomista. Näitten ero ton ja ton, vaikka ne on molemmat, tai itse asiassa tämä taitaa olla fregatti, koko luokkaa eri. Tää on ilmatorjuntaa tehty ja tää on sukellusveneen torjuntaa tehty, eli tää etsii sukellusveneitä työkseen. Jotain sellaista sitten taas, mitä tuo ei kykene. Ja sen lisäksi nykypäivän nämä taistelualukset, on ne sitten näitä fregatteja tai sitten hävittäjiä, niin pintatorjunta on se, mitä kaikista löytyy, eli merimaaliohjuksia. Sen takia niitä Suomenkin hankitaan, että laivalla on kyky aina puolustautua toista laivaa vastaan. Se ei ole enää tykkitaistelua, vaan se on ohjustaistelu. Itse asiassa se ei ole ollut 80-luvun jälkeen, niin se ei ollut enää tykkitaistelua, vaan ohjustaistelua. Falklandin sota on siitä erinomainen esimerkki. Isolate the fire on these blocks, stop it from spreading through the ship. Siellä on kans harppuunastäkit on tossa tyhjänä. Samoin tossa. Now tide is getting a little bit low now, but if you're up on the top deck here, as we pass the Lancaster, looking across the quay wall on your right, you might get some views of number 3 basin. This is the basin that was dug out by hand by the prisoners of war. They actually used some 2,000 convicts and around 1,200 paid labourers dig that pond out. It's actually 5.7 metres deep over there, all dug out by hand.
Also on your right, on the other side of the quay, you'll see another one of our Type 45s, which is D36 HMS Defender.
Se olikin tyyppikin 45 eikä 42, sori. Tyyppi 23 sukellusveneen torjunta fregatti ja tyyppi 45 ilmatorjunta hävittäjiä.
So this is the end of the Royal Naval Dockyard on your right, which is about to do our turn. As we do so, ahead of us, soon to be on your right, is the commercial port. So these two key ports, they mainly deal with the Channel Islands and also down to Spain. Now on a good year, the ferry port normally deals around 2.2 million passengers and around 660,000 vehicles. There is a ferry due in, the Brittany ferry Mont Saint-Michel today. She's very close, she has called in, so she's not that far away now, and she's coming back from Cannes.
Tää ei oo enää käytössä. Tää oli vanha koululaiva.
Now she was launched in 1969 as a Swan Hunter on the Tyne. Saw active service during the Falklands crisis, eventually decommissioned in 1991 to be recommissioned in 1993 as a static training ship. This is where she's been ever since. Now, as you can see, she is in a bit of a sorry state. She's actually come to the end of her days. Very shortly, she's going to be taken away. She's going off to be scrapped. The other side of Bristol is what's known as Whale Island. Now, the great extension of Portsmouth docks over on your left here, back in the 1860s and 70s, a hell of a lot of mud was removed. This is where they dumped it over on your right to actually form this island. Was home to HMS Excellent, the Royal Naval Gunnery School for many years. It's now a training centre for the Royal Navy, Marines and Sea Cadets. Sea Cadets, they're a very good time when they come to train here at Whale Island. They actually bring them out on the water here, they teach them how to row, teach them how to sail, they also teach them how to drive a motorboat. They then take them back ashore and teach them how to swim. Now as we clear Whale Island, keep looking to your right, and right over the other side of the harbour, to the left of the grey hangar, you will see Portchester Castle on the shoreline, built in the year 284 AD by the Romans and rebuilt by the Normans at a later date. Between us and the castle there's actually some 16 square miles of mudflats. Most of the water you see on your right all drains away at low tide. In fact, these red posts, if we were to go the other side of them, would definitely go aground. The big hill in the distance on your right, that's called Port's Downhill. They actually built a series of red brick forts up on the top there as a result of a royal commission back in 1859. Now what they decided in those days, they had quite a few defences facing to the south out to sea, but none facing to the north. So if the enemies wanted to, they could come ashore along the east coast, invade the port of Portsmouth through the back door. So they built these red brick forts up on the top there, and all the cannons were actually north facing. We're actually awaiting our fate.
Toi on ampumatarvikelastauksia varten tossa. Jos käy jotain hassua, niin ei mene koko satama. Ehkä heillä on jotain historiaoppeja, minkä takia se kannattaa olla tossa.
That was the main armament centre for the port for many years. It opened in 1777. In those days,
toi on päättänyt päivänsä jo.
Gunpowder magazine still there to this day, part of the Explosions Museum. Priddy's Harbour was at its best during the Second World War. They actually had a workforce of over 3,700 men and women working 12-hour days, trying to keep up with the massive requirements of the D-Day landings. Eventually the place was deemed too close to residential areas and they had to move it.
Ruutitehdas ja Ruutivarasto.
To a place called Beddenham. The Royal Naval Submarine Museum. There is a Pacific class Second World War submarine on display up there, as well as Holland 1, Britain's first ever submarine. That's Hassel Lake on the right. Directly ahead of us, soon to be on your right, the entrance to Portsmouth Harbour. All the ships you've seen today, this is the only way in and from. It's about 500 foot across. As we cross the harbour, looking out through the entrance, some very good views of the eastern Solent. Coastline of the Isle of Wight over on your right hand side. You'll also see 3 of our 4 defence forts built out in the middle of the sea, built in the days of Palmerston to fend off attacks from the French and Spanish fleets. Also coming up on your right here we've got Spice Island, which is the oldest part of our city. It's here that the old sailing ships used to tie up to unload their cargo.
Brittien ensimmäinen sukellusvene tukikohta on tossa. Ja siellä on jopa tehty muutokset diesel-sukellusveneistä ydinsukellusveneeksi.
That's the original bathhouse.
Tuolla ollaan käyty juoksemassa.
To the left of that, the two pubs still at West Spice Island Inn. I don't know how true it is, or even said that Lord Nelson used to drink at the Spice Island Inn. It's also said both these pubs on your right are very haunted. In fact, spirits have been seen behind the bar.
Tää on vanhaa Portsmouthin.
The entrance to the town Canberra, home to the Whitelink car ferry. See the St. Paper in there. There's a 45-minute trip over to Fishbourne on the island. So, ladies and gents, we'll shortly be arriving in Gunwharf Quays, home to over 95 outlet shops, over 30 bars and restaurants. For those enjoying the Gunwharf, that concludes your tour with us today. Do hope you've enjoyed your time on board. If you have, and of course if you wish to, thank you bucket will be available as you leave the boat if you wish to show your appreciation to the crew. We'd like to thank you very much, come last day folks, so we do hope you enjoy the rest of your time at Gunwharf Quays. Now ladies and gents, if you joined the boat in the historic dockyard alongside Warrior, if you wish you can leave us here at Gunwharf, but once you are off folks, you are off. There is no getting back on board at this stop. So you need to make your mind up now. Well, good afternoon ladies and gents. For those who just joined us, welcome aboard the Alley Cap for your harbour tour. As you can see, now underway from Gunwharf Quays. Going to make our way up to the historic dockyard, which is our second pick-up point. Some people leaving us there. Hopefully there will be some more waiting up here for the next tour.
Se on uima-allas tossa takana.
As we leave, looking across to your right-hand side, some good views of the Spinnaker Tower. 170 metres above sea level, that's 558 foot in old money. 2.5 times higher than Nelson's Column. It's one of the tallest observation platforms outside of London. Views on a good day around 23 miles. 3 viewing decks at the top, lower one housing one of the largest glass floors in Europe. If you dare to walk across, give you the idea of walking on air. Top one is known as the Crow's Nest, got no roof and is open to the elements. The spire you see at the top of the 7 metres in height, built at ground level.